So gonna put number 3 in the overlap, adjust number 4. I'll watch for the exhaust to move down. Okay. Intake cracked. Bolt going to push rod has the mark going out this way, so make sure we'll pull that 180 degrees out, like so.
Make sure you guys charge them for the tutorial.
Yeah. And then loosen all 4 jam nuts on the actual adjusters themselves. That's good. Pull the jam nuts back so you don't get a false tightness. Pull the adjusters out. Make sure you have some room for adjustment so you know your adjustment's right. That is in the push rod, I think. There we go. Yep, there we go. So this exhaust was tight. This exhaust is very tight. One foot came loose, the other foot did not because it was in the push rod, into the push rod. So start coming down. We want to watch here on the push rod, and we want to watch here on the foot on the actual stem of the valve to make sure that we make contact on both points. But all we want is contact. We don't want any extra tension, because if you have any extra tension, you could possibly burn a valve for the valve being tight. So go back and forth a couple times, and it stops right there on its own every single time without depressing the push rod. So that's where we want our adjustment to start. Want to lock down one of them so we have a reference point on where we want the adjustment to come from. So we know this one's true, so then we're just going to match up this one until it touches, and it keeps stopping right there without pushing the push rod down. So we're going to go ahead and put down the jam nut like so. Do the same thing over here. Make sure we get into the push rod and it stops. Making contact right here, nothing tight, everything just making contact. Tighten this down, finger tight so that stays. We have a reference point again. We're gonna come down and it stops right there. So now all of them are set into adjustment. You tighten the jam nuts. And this. Here. Go. So, and then after these are tight, these are still loose in the 180 out position. You go through and you spin these elephant's feet, and you want slight drag just to indicate that you're just touching the valve stem. Now, one of these could be tighter and one of these could be a little bit looser, but as long as they don't rock back and forth like this and there's no space in between here and here and this isn't depressed, you're within adjustment. So once that's done, go through, a nice little smack, make sure that they're tight. It's tight. Here's tight.
And you don't over-tighten those? Over-tighten?
Yeah, you don't want to over-tighten them. You just want to make sure that they're tight to where they don't come loose, but you don't want to stretch the threads too much because you can actually mess with the adjuster and it becomes hard to adjust. Come back here, and these are all, these two up here are 65 foot-pounds. And if you want to go further, extra mile, you can double check these, which are also 65 foot-pounds.
Okay.
And that cylinder is done. And I like to mark all these just to keep track of where I'm at.